Hi, my name is Ryan Senn. I'm a product specialist with New Leader Manufacturing. We're here today at our facility in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And what I want to talk to you about today is, when do I know when my fins are worn out and are in need of replacement? And also we're going to cover a couple of other things as well. How to identify a left from a right fin, and whether or not I need to remove the coating from the fin prior to testing or going to the field. What we have here is an extreme example of a fin that is severely worn, to the point where, as you can see here by the gusset, you actually have holes worn all the way through the material, and your bolt holes where it mounts to the spinner disc have worn through as well. What I wanted to point out here is when you're able to see this rippling effect that is very prominent here, or you can take your finger and run it across the face of that fin and feel that ripple, that is an indication it is time to replace the fin. It is well past the point in time to replace the fin by the time it has holes in it. There. This fin that I'm holding here is the style that we had up until middle of last year. And as you can see, it's got kind of a dull finish to it. It's got a rough surface, and it's because it's powder coated. If you have any powder coated fins, you will need to, prior to going to the field or pan testing with them, you're going to need to use a commercially available paint stripper to remove the powder coating from the face of the fin. The reason why is that if the powder coating is not removed, it can have a negative impact on your pattern integrity. What I have here is a fin with our latest coating on it. As you can see, it's got a shiny surface to it. It's very smooth, and what it is it is actually just a primer coating. Now, if you have one of the fins with the new style coating on it, you do not need to remove this prior to going to the field or pan testing, as this coating will wear off within a very short period of time and has no negative impact on your pattern. Okay. Now what I'm going to talk about is, how do you identify your fins, whether they're a left or a right hand fin? Because it is important that you put the correct fins on the correct disc. And in a little bit, I'll show you how you can identify and make sure your discs are on the proper side as well. First, we're going to talk about the fin. If I hold the fin in my hand from the inside edge, you can see that the gusset on the outside edge of the fin will point to the direction. So in this case, this one points to the right. That tells me that this is a right-handed fin. Now if I pick up a left-handed fin, hold it from the inside edge, it's going to point to the left. Now let's talk about how you can identify a left and a right hand spinner disc, even if you are unable to see the part number or the L or R stamp that is in the disc from the factory. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is how you identify a right or a left hand spinner disc. The easiest way to do that is without a fin on, so you can see all three holes. What you do is you simply draw an imaginary line lining up all three center holes, starting with the outside edge. So if I start here at the number 2 hole, go to the center pivot hole, and to the inside number 2 hole, and draw that imaginary line, it's going to end up or fall on the right hand side of the spinner disc hub. Now we'll take a look at a left hand disc and show you where you can see the machine stamp from the factory. There is a machine stamp from the factory that is on the disc, but a lot of times this stamp gets covered up with paint during the finishing process. As you see here, you can see an LL, and then you see the date of manufacture of 1/21. Now what I want to discuss briefly with you is, when it comes time to change your fins, you want to make sure that you're putting them back on in the same position. And as you can see here, you have 3 holes. 3 on the outside, you have 1 in the center, and then you have three holes towards right next to the center hub here as well. What that allows us to do is if I place the fin on here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the bolt in on the center, because that's going to be our pivot point. You can see that as I progress, if I start in the 1 position, the fin is extremely aggressive. It's leaning forward. If I move it to the center position, or the number 2, it opens that fin face up a little bit. If I move it to the 3 position, it lays that fin back and allows the fertilizer to come off quicker. When you're replacing your fins, it's very important that you put the new fins on in the same position that your old fins were in originally. One thing that I'd like to point out for you as well, you can see I've got a couple of bolts here. Now, these are mild steel bolts, and that's extremely important. So we ship with every new fin kit, it comes with a full set of fins, 4 for the left, 4 for the right, and then a full set of bolt hardware as well. It's going to have your standard mild steel bolt with a nylon lock washer. We want to make sure that we use the mild steel bolt so that our magnetic spinner speed sensor can detect the bolt head as it goes across for proper RPM. Now, you'll notice that the 2 outside bolts go nut down. The inside, or the bolt that's closest to the center hub, needs to be placed in from the bottom, so the nut will be up. The reason why you place the inside bolt facing up is so that you do not take out the spinner speed sensor with the shaft of the bolt. If you have questions on when you should possibly look at changing your fin position, please refer to your owner's manual or contact your authorized New Leader dealer.